What's going on, YouTube? Listen up, young elder gang. This is Ted Strokes at you with another banger. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Fam, I hope this video get at least 100,000 likes. In this video, you will find history definitions, scripture information, and best of all, what we Americans have been deprived of from the beginning. The truth, keep in mind, this content used in this video is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. We will give you the total truth as we best understand it today. Be sure to hit that like button. Young elder gang, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell, and don't forget to check back with us every day for new content. I'll never ignore the dangers of secrecy again after learning this. If you care about liberty, you need to hear this message. Trust me, this is bigger than you think. In a truly free society, secrets are poison. We, as Americans, have always rejected secret societies, shadowy oaths, and closed-door deals. But hear this. There's a ruthless conspiracy out there. Global, relentless, and built on subversion, not open war. It doesn't invade, it infiltrates, it doesn't win elections, it undermines them. Intimidation replaces choice, silence replaces truth. This machine, military, political, economic, moves in the dark. Its mistakes buried, its critics silenced. No one questions the cost, no one exposes its secrets. America's mission has always been peace, progress, and liberty. But this hidden threat? It's relentless, it's global, ruthless in purpose, sneaky in method. Don't fall for slick promises that everything comes easy, costs nothing, and that someone else will handle it all. Liberty demands vigilance. Don't let smooth words cover up the real dangers. Stay sharp, stay free. JFK once said, "Secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissent is silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned. No rumor is printed. No secret is revealed. Throughout America's adventure in free government, our basic purposes have been to keep the peace, to foster progress in human achievement, and to enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity among peoples and among nations. To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people. Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world. It commands our whole attention, absorbs our very beings. We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious. I'm unhappily in method, and the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration. Let me warn you, and let me warn the nation against the smooth evasion. That says, of course, we believe these things. We believe in social security. We believe in work for the unemployed. We believe in saving homes, cross our hearts, and hope to die. We believe in all these things. But we do not like the way the present administration is doing now. Just turn them over to us. We will do all of them. We will do more of them. We will do them better. And most important of all, the doing of them will not cost anybody anything. Ronald Reagan once said, "Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender." Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face. The fair policy of accommodation is appeasement, and it gives no choice between fighting or surrendering. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back down and retreat, eventually we will have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? Well, if Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be, he has told them that we are retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum of our surrender, and that it will be voluntary because by that time we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price or better rep than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knee than die in his feet, and therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains of slavery, if nothing in life is worth dying. Or when did this begin, just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots who conquered bridges have thrown down their guns and refused to fire a shot? Around the world, the martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored gift who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazi, to die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Oh, it's a simple answer. After all, you and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material competitions and great forces around the moon and the world. We learn their spirits. We said there's something going on in time and space and beyond. Time and space, which whether we like it or not spells, do you and I have a rendezvous one will preserve for our children. This is the last best hope of man on earth, where we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness, Ronald Reagan said. The last part of Reagan's speech sounds satanic. This is the last best hope of man on earth, where we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. Wow, sound like something straight out of Revelation, right? Those who do not notice that a democracy is in fact a controlled war zone of combatants are all the more deceived by this world. It is just like the United States of America, which cannot continue as a democracy without having some permanent enemy, at which the democracy is always at war. A condition of being good did not necessarily provide any remedy to mankind from the war which existed between the Matrix and the people of Zion. There was no remedy in fighting a continuous war. One's remedy is always in the peace that ensues after the war. Getting to this peace and making the condition of peace productive by one's actions is the issue. Go to peace rather than going to war. This is why the people who act as persons are described as the commercial enemies in the Trading with the Enemy Act that was passed in the First World War as a protection from enemies and updated in 1933 under the New Deal, when the United States government had to call upon the states to help defray the debt, and the persons citizens of the United States became the enemies of the United States government by decree of President Roosevelt. I am reminded about this nation in 1787, when the Founding Fathers came out of the Constitutional Convention after proposing the Constitution of the United States as a foundational document of government. A woman asked them, "What kind of government have you given us?" The response was, "A republic if you can keep it." The Constitutional Convention was not an end, it was a beginning. A republic is built on a non-commercial foundation where the people remain in honor and pay their debts at law. A democracy is when the people are in dishonor and the debts cannot be paid. A democracy is a military government constantly at war. Like the Civil War, the war in Vietnam, the war on poverty, the war on drugs, the Desert Storm, the Bosnian War, the war on terrorists, the Iraq War, etc. Wars that never end. Revolution deals with war and protest instead of dealing with a revolving revolution or a turning over of your mental concept to go to peace as a means of acceptance and working with the enemy to end the war, instead of working against or rebelling against the enemy and continuing the war. Freedom is the result of the fruits. A quasi-governmental corporate takeover was then engineered to take control of the 50 states, the banking system, and the coining and printing of money. A civil war, a bankruptcy, and the confiscation of the wealth of the nation were sponsored in order to create a context, read emergency, for the enslavement of the formerly sovereign people of the 50 formerly sovereign states under color of law. There are places in this world where history is not what it seems. In these forgotten corridors and silent halls, the past lingers, whispering secrets that have never been told. The ink on the page is a lie, written to hide a darker truth. Every word, every line, carefully crafted to conceal what truly happened, to mislead those who dare to look closer. We walk through our lives, blind to the strings being pulled from the shadows. Unseen hands guide our choices, shaping destinies without our knowledge, manipulating the world from behind a veil. Symbols etched into ancient stone, cold spots in the air. These are not random. They are markers, left behind by those who came before, clues for those who know how to read them. They are echoes of a silent war, a battle for control that has raged for centuries, hidden just beneath the surface. This conflict is older than any nation, older than any king. This war is fought not with armies but with secrets, symbols, and ancient pacts. Power is traded in whispers and alliances are forged in the dark. What if the very documents that grant us our freedom were secretly twisted by an unseen force? What if the laws we trust were written with hidden intentions, their true meaning known only to a select few? Whispers tell of a hidden order, a cabal so ancient its influence is like a ghost in the machine. Their reach extends into every corner of society, their presence felt but never seen. They say this group has a name, a lineage, and a terrifying endgame for humanity. Their symbols are carved in stone, their legacy written in blood and shadow. It's a journey into the abyss, into secret councils and underground empires. To follow their trail is to risk everything, to step into a world where nothing is as it seems. Tonight, we pull back the curtain. We dare to look where others have turned away, to seek the truth hidden in darkness. We are investigating claims of a Moorish Zionist network, said to be the puppet master behind global events. Their influence is rumored to stretch across continents and centuries. This is a story that connects ancient curses to modern technology, and secret societies to the highest seats of power. The past and present are woven together in a web of intrigue. The air grows heavy when you speak these names out loud. The investigation begins now. Prepare to see the world as you never have before. To understand this legend, we must travel back centuries. The story begins with the Moorish Zionist guys, not a religious group, but an ancient bloodline. They claim descent from the Moors of North Africa and the mystical traditions of Kabbalistic Zionism. Keepers of forbidden knowledge, their power is said to span both spiritual and material worlds. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, deliberately obscured. Conspiracy lore alleges they forged alliances with secret societies and criminal syndicates, including the Sicilian Mafia and the Hellfire Council. These alliances were strategic, creating a global network of influence. They wield mystical power through occult rituals and physical power through crime syndicates. Described as priests and gangsters, their influence creeps across the globe, unseen but ever present. Their ultimate goal, a new world order built on ancient, esoteric principles. Every move is a step toward this chilling vision. At the heart of this conspiracy lies a notorious text, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Discredited by historians, but in conspiracy lore, it's treated as a genuine blueprint for world domination. Believers claim it outlines the plan for global chaos, mirrored by wars and upheavals of the last century. Paired with Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, these texts form a two-part manifesto. Pike's writings, dense with occult symbolism, are said to prophesy engineered world wars. The Moorish Zionist cabal is cast as the secret hand guiding these plans, using Freemasonry to recruit elites. Every major conflict is reinterpreted as a deliberate act, a scene directed from behind the curtain. The world becomes a grand stage for a ritual designed to culminate in a new world order. Deep within this tangled web of secret societies, there exists a name that inspires dread and fascination in equal measure: the Hellfire Council. This is not the infamous historical Hellfire Club, but a far older, more sinister tribunal whose origins are shrouded in legend and fear. The council is described as the supreme governing body of the global criminal underworld, composed of the enigmatic Moorish Zionist elite and their powerful shadowy allies. From the shadows, this council orchestrates events that shape the fate of nations, controlling assassination rings, arms dealing, narcotics empires, and vast human trafficking networks. Their authority is absolute, their judgment final, and their word is law among the world's most dangerous criminals. Their immense power is said to be rooted in a mystical charter granted centuries ago in Morocco, the spiritual homeland and secret cradle of the Cabal's influence. The council sees itself as a hidden monarchy, ruling from the shadows with an ancient and unchallenged right to command the underworld. Their decrees are enforced as unbreakable law in a world populated by assassins, spies, and occult enforcers who answer only to them. They fuse mystical and material power using dark rituals, secret ceremonies, and organized crime to execute their elaborate plans. The Hellfire Council is the iron fist concealed within the velvet glove of the global conspiracy, striking with both subtlety and force. Their influence seeps into the very foundations of society, corrupting institutions, manipulating leaders, and turning the underworld into a disciplined, relentless army that serves their will. We have already seen evidence that the international bankers will go to extraordinary measures to get what they want. There is some evidence to indicate that the powerful international bankers who gave us the Federal Reserve System will stop at nothing to have the power of a central bank solely in their hands alone. 3 acting American presidents have expressed concern over central banks issuing currency. Each of these acting presidents have been whacked. In mafia slang, whacked or whacked means to murder someone, particularly within the context of organized crime. It's a term used to describe a hit or killing within the criminal underworld. The so-called President Abraham Lincoln planned to issue non-interest-bearing notes he called greenbacks. Bang! The so-called President James A. Garfield made a pronouncement on currency problems just before he was whacked. And the acting President John Fitzgerald Kennedy planned to issue federal United States notes without using the Federal Reserve notes or involving interest just before he was whacked. It would be difficult to prove that the international bankers were involved in these hits, but it is a very strange coincidence that presents more than a shadow of reasonable doubt that the hits could not have been done by any other group of people than the international bankers. Who else would have had the power and influence, both outside and inside of the military social government construct, to successfully cover up events as well as has been done? The international bankers can refer to several groups, including the Institute of International Bankers, IIB, the Worshipful Company of International Bankers, and the broader concept of international banking. The IIB is a trade association representing international banks operating in the United States, advocating for their interests in legislative and regulatory matters. The Worshipful Company of International Bankers is a professional organization with members from various financial disciplines. International banking in general refers to the services and transactions provided by banks across international borders to facilitate trade and investment. The ultimate ambition of this secret order is not to rule the world above, but to retreat into a hidden kingdom. This is the legend of Zion, a massive, technologically advanced underground city. Zion and other deep underground military bases are said to be connected by a secret network of Maglev trains invisible to the surface. These cities are self-sufficient, luxurious, and built with technology far beyond public knowledge. They are the culmination of a centuries-old plan, a permanent, untouchable seat of power. The world above is a disposable resource. Their true home is below. Zion is their ark, built to ride out the storm they will unleash. No conspiracy of this scale is complete without control over wealth. The lore claims a small group of banking families, loyal to the cabal, seized control of the global economy centuries ago. The Federal Reserve is cited as their crown jewel, giving them power to create debt and enslave nations. This economic control is said to be justified by a dark interpretation of a biblical curse from Genesis. Banking becomes a priesthood. International bankers are the high priests of a cult of wealth and debt. Presidents become puppets, their strings pulled by central banks. Every dollar of debt, every market crash is seen as a tightening of this ancient chain. The international bankers are the wardens of a global prison, the bars made of debt and scripture. The United States, founded on liberty, was a threat to global control. So, the lore claims, it was subverted from within. After the Civil War, the Act of 1871 allegedly turned the U.S. into a corporation under foreign control. Gold-fringed flags in courtrooms, birth certificates as shipping manifests. These are said to mark citizens as corporate assets. The original Constitution applies only to a forgotten republic. The rest are subject to corporate statutes. This legal framework is the cabal's tool for silent enslavement, achieved with paperwork, not chains. The goal to hollow out America, turning it into a tool of the world order. The true seat of power, the lore claims, is the ancient city of London, the crown, a sovereign square mile. Here the Lords of London, a council of elite bankers, dictate the world's economy and own the corporate United States. Their enforcers, the Black Hand, are a global intelligence and assassination agency. The Black Hand ensures the smooth operation of the machine, silencing dissent and protecting secrets. The narrative casts Russia as the last major power resisting the Crown's globalist agenda. The Lords of London control wealth, intelligence, and the political actions of the West. They are the final bosses, plotting a one-world empire from their fortified city-state. These guys' plans are to go completely underground, which they already are underground, and leave the robot in charge of the humans which they have enslaved. You remember, in the Matrix films, Zion is the last remaining human city, located deep underground near Center Earth. It's a haven for those who live outside the Matrix, the elite. The Matrix is a simulated world controlled by machines. This is already happening now like we predicted. The Moorish Zionist elites have set up over 200 underground cities referred to as Zion, which is a vast network of advanced caverns deep beneath the surface, near the Earth's central city Shambhala. It's a refuge for elite, places to live and build a new society after their war with the Earthborn. Zion can be seen as a promised land or a safe haven, similar to the biblical Zion. Zion exists in the real world, outside the simulated reality of the Matrix. Zion also serves as a main home, with a controlled environment for the elites, places for the 1% who benefit off the Matrix to run and hide when judgment comes. The elites have learned that giving humans a sense of choice is necessary to keep the Matrix stable. Those who reject the Matrix and are disconnected are anomalies that, if left unchecked, could destabilize the system. They created Operation DUMB a long time ago. DUMB, Deep Underground Military Base, refers to a highly classified network of underground facilities that exist beneath the Earth's surface. These bases are used for a variety of so-called military, scientific, and potentially secret government operations. Some say the existence and purpose of DUMBs are subjects of much speculation and debate. DUMBs are rumored to be located in various locations around the world, often in mountainous or isolated areas. They are speculated to be used for things like military command and control, research and development of new technologies, black budget operations and projects, potential escape routes or bunkers in case of a global catastrophe. The existence and purpose of DUMBs are often tied to conspiracy theories about government cover-ups and secret projects. While the term DUMB is a new term, examples of underground military bases and facilities that are used for various purposes, such as Cheyenne Mountain Complex, Colorado. Other underground bases used for missile storage and other military purposes. They used tunnel boring machines. These are used to create tunnels connecting deep underground military bases. The boring machine also comes with vitrification and melting systems. These sophisticated laser systems are described as being able to vitrify and melt the rock, deflagrate the rock, to reduce it to a powder that is then melted, facilitating the creation of underground spaces. They also used controlled blasting equipment. This equipment is used in conjunction with analyzation of the rock formation to blast out or tunnel out large rooms for the underground base. They also have electric tunneling machines. These are mentioned as a way to potentially create exits from underground complexes, with newer generations of these machines being significantly faster than older models. These references highlight the advanced technology which was employed in the construction of DUMB facilities. They have Maglev trains that can go coast to coast in less than an hour. Maglev trains, also known as magnetic levitation trains, are a form of transportation that uses magnetic forces to lift and propel a vehicle over a guideway, eliminating friction caused by wheels on a track. While they can be constructed at grade, ground level, a key benefit to Maglev technology is the possibility of building them deep underground in tunnels. Reduced land use and disruption. Placing infrastructure underground minimizes disruption to existing urban areas, ecosystems, and surface activities. Tunnels provide a protected environment, minimizing impacts from weather or other external factors. Potential for very high speeds. Maglev technology, particularly when combined with an evacuated tunnel, creating a vacuum, has the potential to reach incredibly high speeds by reducing air resistance. Some proponents believe speeds could exceed 4,000 miles per hour in this scenario. Quieter and smoother ride. Since there's no contact with a track, Maglev trains offer a significantly quieter and smoother ride compared to conventional trains. The construction of deep underground tunnels and specialized Maglev infrastructure is expensive, involving factors like rare earth elements for magnets and advanced technology. Extensive underground construction can raise environmental concerns, particularly regarding water resources, potentially causing delays and requiring mitigation plans. Maglev systems require completely new infrastructure and cannot be integrated with existing rail lines. The high cost of construction raises concerns about the long-term financial feasibility of these projects. China currently operates a Maglev train that can reach speeds of 600 kilometers per h, 373 miles per hour, considered the fastest ground vehicle globally. Maglev technology in evacuated tubes could enable rapid intercity travel, with projections like a New York to Los Angeles trip taking only 30 minutes. Research suggests the feasibility of transatlantic underwater vacuum tunnels, potentially reducing travel time between continents. The success of current Maglev projects and the ability to reduce construction costs will be crucial for the widespread adoption of this advanced transportation method. In conclusion, deep underground levitation trains, specifically Maglevs, represent a promising but challenging frontier in high-speed transportation. While the potential benefits in terms of speed, efficiency, and environmental impact are significant, the technological hurdles and high costs of construction and operation require careful consideration and continued innovation. They have advanced underground cities in Morocco, Switzerland, Spain, London, Barbados, Albany, New York. The Empire State Plaza features an underground city with various commercial and public facilities. Atlanta, Georgia. The underground area represents the original surface level of downtown Atlanta, now buried beneath raised roadways. Boise, Idaho. The Capitol Mall complex has a networked system of tunnels connecting state buildings. Boston, Massachusetts. Cambridge, Massachusetts. Many MIT buildings have underground utility tunnels. Chicago, Illinois. The Chicago Pedway is a large network of interconnected tunnels. Seattle, Washington. The Seattle Underground, a network of buried streets and buildings, was created after the Great Fire of 1889. Kansas City, Missouri, Subtropolis. A vast underground storage and distribution center is located in Kansas City. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Montreal's underground city is a vast pedestrian network beneath the city. These are just some of the main underground cities. These examples represent just a fraction of the underground infrastructure found in various U.S. cities. Many smaller, more localized underground systems also exist, such as utility tunnels, pedestrian walkways, and abandoned tunnels. Lords of London, who are knights who control the 1 square mile banking district and 10 by 10 square miles in Washington, D.C., the Lords of London work for the 13 families of the Black Hand. The Black Hand is Moorish Zionist guys who control the world. They hide their wealth in Switzerland. They have huge mansions in Morocco and around the world with gold toilets and sinks. They own billion-dollar yachts and private jets and have advanced underground cities all over the world. They own whole city blocks in London and New York. They own most of your major corporations around the world like BlackRock. The primary banking district in London is called the City of London, also known as the Square Mile. It's a historically significant area and the heart of London's financial sector, attracting various financial institutions, banking corporations, and other professional services. Another major banking district is Canary Wharf, located in the east of London. This area is a distinct entity within Greater London, with its own governing body, the City of London Corporation. It's home to major financial institutions like the Bank of England, the London Stock Exchange, and many international banks. It's also known for its historic buildings like St. Paul's Cathedral and the Guildhall. The initial land area of Washington, D.C. was a 10 miles square, totaling 100 square miles. This area was ceded by Maryland and Virginia. However, the current area of the District of Columbia is smaller, as part of the original land was returned to Virginia in 1846. The Constitution allowed for a federal district not exceeding 10 miles square. This was interpreted to mean a square with sides of 10 miles resulting in 100 square miles. The Residence Act of 1790 specified the location of the capital and its size, with the 10-mile square being a key aspect. Maryland and Virginia ceded the land for the district in 1846. The area south and west of the Pontiac River, which had been ceded by Virginia, was returned to the state. The District of Columbia now comprises square miles located east of the Pontiac River. Harriet Truman was a Shriner, as mentioned. FDR himself was a noble of the mystic shrine. To be president, you gotta be a Shriner or Knights of Templar. By way of the Freemasons, many powerful men of that era were Masons, Knights of Templar, and Shriners. While their public face is one of philanthropy and parades, the secretive nature of these organizations has always invited speculation about their influence on politics and finance. They plan to use social or cultural predominance. In the 19th century, hegemony denoted the social or cultural predominance or ascendancy, predominance by one group within a society or milieu, and a group or regime which exerts undue influence within a society. In imperialism, the hegemonic order dictates the internal politics and the societal character of the subordinate states that constitute the hegemonic sphere of influence, either by an internal, sponsored government or by an external, installed government. Imperialism is the maintaining and extending of power over foreign nations, particularly through expansionism, employing both hard power, military and economic power, and soft power, diplomatic power and cultural imperialism. Imperialism focuses on establishing or maintaining hegemony and a more or less formal empire. While related to the concept of colonialism, imperialism is a distinct concept that can apply to other forms of expansion and many forms of government. Colonialism is the control of another territory, natural resources and people by a foreign group. Colonizers control the political and tribal power of the colonized territory. While frequently an imperialist project, colonialism can also take the form of settler colonialism, whereby settlers from one or multiple colonizing metropoles occupy a territory with the intention of partially or completely supplanting the existing population. Colonialism developed as a concept describing European colonial empires of the modern era, which spread globally from the 15th century to the mid-20th century, spanning 35% of Earth's land by 1800 and peaking at 84% by the beginning of World War I. European colonialism employed mercantilism and chartered companies, and established coloniality, which keeps the colonized socio-economically othered and subaltern through modern biopolitics of sexuality, gender, race, disability, and class, among others, resulting in intersectional violence and discrimination. Colonialism has been justified with beliefs of having a civilizing mission to cultivate land and life, based on beliefs of entitlement and superiority, historically often rooted in the belief of a Christian mission. The term world elite bankers typically refers to the individuals who are influential and wealthy in the banking industry, often holding positions of power at large financial institutions or managing significant private wealth. These individuals often influence financial markets and economic policy. Some examples include prominent figures: the Rothschild family, Safra family net worth estimated at $19.1 billion in 2022, J.P. Morgan family, the Simons with a net worth estimated at $28.6 billion in 2022, and other influential investment banking firms. These are all strawmen or frontmen families for the real Moorish Zionist families which hide underground. These individuals often wield considerable influence over global financial markets and economic policy decisions. Many are considered to be among the wealthiest people in the world, with significant net worths and holdings in financial assets. They may hold leadership positions within major financial institutions, investment banking firms, or private investment firms. The Rothschild family, a well-known banking family with a long history in finance. A historical figure known for his influence in consolidating industries and providing financial assistance to the government. World elite bankers are seen as exerting control over the world through various means. The mechanisms of control. By controlling central banks and the creation of money, financial elites can manipulate economic conditions and potentially influence policies. Through the control of credit and government debt, financial institutions and their elites could potentially wield significant influence over both businesses and governments. Elite investors and financial institutions control the flow of capital and potentially influence global markets and asset prices. Financial elites and corporations can influence policy decisions through lobbying and campaign contributions to political candidates. Through their positions in corporations, influence over policy networks, and control over financial support, elites can shape policies that impact society. Elites can have significant overrepresentation in government and advisory positions, allowing them to further influence policy. Elites can benefit from globalization and partnerships between governments and industries, which can lead to increased wealth concentration and influence. Financial elites can maintain power through controlling resources, particularly financial capital, intellectual property, and essential infrastructure. Elites can utilize sophisticated legal frameworks, including intellectual property laws and international treaties, to protect their interests and control markets. Academic literature suggests that power is often concentrated at the top of societies, with small elites influencing decision-making processes through various channels. While the concept of elite influence is explored in academic fields, it is important to critically examine potential negative impacts, such as inequality, policy capture, and threats to public trust, many surrounding the control of global affairs by a small group of bankers. We will tax, 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 spend, spend, and spend, and the voters will re-elect us, re-elect us, re-elect us because they're too dumb to understand. Harry Hopkins, an advisor to former President Franklin Roosevelt. We tax his pay, tax his play, even tax his time of day. We tax his shirt and tax his coat, tax his car and tax his boat. We tax his food and tax his drink, tax him good, so he can't think. We tax his house, tax his chair. By taxing his comb, we tax his hair. By taxing his pills, we tax his health. With taxes on taxes, we steal his wealth. And when he's sick, we'll tax his bed, tax him till he's good and dead. Then we'll place upon his tomb, taxes drove me to my doom. But after he's gone, we won't relax, we'll steal his kids home with an inheritance tax. Eerie source. Unknown. Don't you find it curious that the sole solution of the politicians' remedy for every problem, for the most part of which they create, is the raising of taxes? Never do they reduce the size of government. Never do they reduce their salaries. But at your cost you pay for everything, and even that which they waste. They plan to centralize curriculum control, establish a standardized curriculum, develop a highly centralized and nationally controlled curriculum, emphasize specific ideologies, design the curriculum to heavily promote certain political, economic, or social ideologies, possibly minimizing or omitting dissenting viewpoints, control how history is taught, potentially emphasizing specific narratives that align with the desired ideology and downplaying or omitting less favorable historical events. Implement ideologically aligned training. Ensure that teacher training programs strongly emphasize and promote the desired ideology, shaping how teachers deliver the curriculum. Prioritize ideology in hiring. Make adherence to the desired ideology a primary factor in hiring and promotion decisions for teachers and administrators. Emphasize obedience to rules, respect for authority figures, and strict adherence to established norms. Use disciplinary measures to discourage dissent or expression of views that conflict with the desired ideology. Discourage critical thinking and questioning of authority, focusing instead on rote learning and memorization of information. Utilize technology and strict internet filtering to control the information students access, potentially restricting exposure to diverse viewpoints. Gather extensive data on student behavior and academic performance to identify and potentially address those deemed deviant or resistant to indoctrination. Such a system would likely face significant resistance from parents, educators, and the public, potentially leading to protests, non-compliance, and underground movements. A school system designed for such control would undermine critical thinking, informed decision-making, and active participation in a democracy. Erosion of trust and community. The perceived manipulation and loss of local control would likely erode trust in the public education system and create deep societal divisions. The misuse of education systems for political or ideological control, underscoring the importance of protecting the integrity of education, promoting critical thinking, and fostering democratic values. They plan to influence political outcomes, and shaping government involves a variety of legitimate strategies that individuals and groups can use to participate in the democratic process. These methods focus on engaging with the existing system and advocating for change within legal and ethical boundaries. Here are some ways individuals and groups can work to influence who is elected and the direction of government. Participating in the electoral process. The most fundamental way to influence elections is by casting a ballot for preferred candidates. Volunteering for political campaigns, including making calls, knocking on doors, and organizing events, helps support candidates. Financial contributions to campaigns and political organizations can help support candidates and their platforms. Individuals can directly impact the political system by running for elected positions themselves. Communicating with elected officials through letters, emails, or phone calls can express support or opposition to specific policies. Organizations and individuals can engage in lobbying efforts to influence legislation and policy decisions by meeting with lawmakers and providing information. Mobilizing community members to advocate for a cause through petitions, rallies, and public awareness campaigns can create pressure for change. Writing letters to the editor, participating in interviews, and utilizing social media can help shape public discourse and influence opinions. Sharing views and information through speeches and presentations can educate and persuade others. Producing articles, videos, or other media that support a particular viewpoint can reach a wide audience. Joining or supporting political parties allows individuals to participate in the selection of candidates and the development of party platforms. Forming or joining organizations focused on specific issues allows for collective action and advocacy. Think tanks and advocacy groups. Supporting organizations that conduct research and advocate for specific policies can influence the political agenda. Filing lawsuits to challenge laws or policies can bring about legal and social change. Submitting amicus curiae briefs and providing expert testimony can influence judicial decisions. It is important to understand that legitimate political influence operates within the framework of laws and ethical guidelines. Any attempt to manipulate elections or undermine democratic processes through illegal means is harmful and has severe consequences. To establish a powerful base, they needed technological and economic superiority. Significant technological and economic advantages would be necessary. This includes advanced weaponry, space exploration capabilities, advanced manufacturing, and control over crucial resources. A strong military and naval power. A large, well-equipped military and a dominant navy would be essential for power projection and control over trade routes and territories. Economic control. Economic dominance through trade agreements, resource control, and financial manipulation would be needed to weaken other nations' economies. They use colonization tactics. Resource acquisition, establishing colonies to gain access to valuable raw materials and resources essential for military and economic power. Controlling trade routes, controlling key trade routes and markets to disrupt global trade and weaken other nations. Imposing political and economic systems that benefit the colonizing entity, often through direct rule or puppet governments. Attempting to suppress indigenous cultures and languages while promoting the colonizer's culture and language to solidify control and reduce resistance. Military presence and repression. Maintaining a strong military presence in colonized territories and suppressing any resistance or dissent through force. Exploiting the labor force and natural resources of the colonies for the benefit of the colonizing entity. Utilizing propaganda and controlling information to maintain support and prevent resistance. Further expansion. Continuing the process of colonization and expansion to control more territories and resources, ultimately aiming for global domination. Colonialism has had devastating consequences for indigenous populations and international relations, causing systemic racism, economic inequality, and loss of culture. Addressing the legacies of colonialism is crucial for sustainable development and overcoming global inequalities. They plan to use whitewashing to steal the indigenous people land around the world. Individuals who were so-called black or dark skin in history are depicted as white or pale. This is what you term whitewashing, which serve various purposes related to reinforcing and maintaining a particular social or political agenda and is a phase of colonization. One of the number one thing is to maintaining social hierarchy and power dynamics. Historically, the notion of racial hierarchies positioned free white people at the top, justifying colonization, slavery of indigenous people, and other forms of oppression against non-free white populations. Whitewashing historical narratives by replacing or omitting the contributions and significance of so-called black native individuals could perpetuate the myth of white superiority and maintain existing power structures. By controlling historical narratives and depicting a world where white individuals are the primary agents of change and progress, it solidifies and reinforces the dominant group's position and influence. Whitewashing can be a way to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths about historical injustices like slavery and racial discrimination. By presenting a narrative that minimizes the role of white individuals in oppression or even portrays historical figures like slave owners as virtuous, it potentially diminishes the feelings of guilt or responsibility among the white population. In a revised historical narrative, portraying historical figures as whites, even if they were not, could be intended to cultivate a certain form of national pride or a sense of shared heritage centered around a specific racial identity. Replacing or erasing black individuals from historical narratives can lead to a sense of invisibility and disconnection from cultural heritage for so-called black individuals and communities. Undermining achievements and contributions. Whitewashing can downplay the achievements and contributions of so-called black individuals, making it seem as though progress and innovation primarily came from white people. It's crucial to acknowledge that such historical revisionism is fundamentally inaccurate and harmful. It distorts the truth and prevents a comprehensive and honest understanding of the past. The psychological impact of historical erasure and misrepresentation on those from marginalized groups can be significant, potentially leading to identity confusion, diminished self-esteem, and feelings of not belonging. Without an accurate understanding of history and the injustices of the past, addressing present-day inequalities and working towards a more just society becomes incredibly difficult. In short, while the motivations may vary, the act of whitewashing history in a hypothetical scenario would be driven by a desire to maintain power, control narratives, and potentially avoid confronting uncomfortable truths about race and history. We have journeyed through the darkest corridors of conspiracy, piecing together a story of terrifying scope and complexity. Each step has revealed new layers of secrets, hidden agendas, and the chilling reach of those who operate in the shadows. The narrative describes a world not governed by presidents or parliaments, but by a hidden council of sorcerer kings and gangster priests, whose influence stretches across continents and centuries. Above, a chaotic, impoverished surface world, managed through engineered wars, manufactured crises, and the ever-present grip of fear. The suffering of the masses is not accidental, but a tool wielded by those in power. Below, a hidden world of luxury and technological marvel, the subterranean cities of Zion, where the elite thrive in opulence, untouched by the chaos above, surrounded by wonders the surface can only imagine. The plan's culmination is a new world order, not just political or economic, but spiritual, a transformation of humanity itself, orchestrated through ancient rites and secret knowledge. The elite seek to become gods on earth, masters of a reality they have crafted, rewriting the rules of existence to suit their vision and desires. The individual human spirit is the final obstacle to be crushed, the last spark of resistance in a world otherwise subdued. The world we know is simply the chrysalis for their dark utopia, a shell to be discarded once their transformation is complete. As we stand here today, the story warns that the final act is upon us. The hour grows late, and the forces at play are moving swiftly. The shadows are lengthening, and the veil between worlds is growing thin, as if reality itself is beginning to unravel at the edges. This is not a declaration of fact, but an exploration of a myth that haunts the fringes of society, whispered in secret and written in forgotten tomes. The energy behind these stories is undeniable, a reflection of our fear that unseen forces shape our destiny, and that our lives are but pieces in a much larger game. Whether fact or folklore, the legend of the Moorish Zionist world order is a Gothic warning. Always look closer at the shadows, for within them may lie the truth we fear to face.